Before we go further in our study of harmony, I wanted to point out a potential pitfall, and that is the difference between monophonic and polyphonic instruments. Because sometimes you might have a really nice chord, but you're only hearing one note of the chord, and you might be wondering like what's going on. And that's because some of the instruments in Ableton will only play one note at a time. Those are called monophonic instruments. Mono for one, phonic for sound, one sound at a time. So here's an example of that. I have this set of octave stacks here, right? C1, C2, and C3, and so on. And it should sound very tall and powerful. But when I play it, I'm only hearing one note at a time. Okay, so what's going on with that? Well, if we double click on our instrument there and go down to the device view, you can see that in the voices section, it's set to monophonic, okay? I can change that to have up to 32 different voices. I don't need 32. I'm just going to pick 8. 8's enough because I'm only using 3 voices at a time. And now when I play it, I can hear all of those notes. So polyphonic, poly means many, phonic means sound. Polyphonic instruments can play multiple sounds at the same time. Monophonic instruments can only play one sound at a time. And you might be thinking to yourself, well, why would you want an instrument, right, that only plays one note at a time? Well, a lot of real life instruments are like that, right? Like the trumpet or the saxophone or something played normally is a monophonic instrument. But in electronic production, a lot of bass instruments are monophonic. And that's because they carry so much harmonic information and they provide the foundation of the groove and everything that you don't necessarily want them to be able to play a bunch of notes above. You just want them to stick to one note at a time. And you can do some cool things with monophonic instruments that is harder to do with polyphonic instruments. So there's reasons, but I just wanted to point that out to you. Most instruments have a way to switch them from polyphonic to monophonic or vice versa.